Hello and welcome back to Proactive New York. I'm Christine Corrado. With me right now is Nader Porhassan, CEO at CytoDyn, and Chief Science Officer, Dr. Jay Lalezari. Great to have you both. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Pleasure to be here.
Dr. Jay Lalezari, it's great to meet you. I want to get a sense of what your background is. I know you have quite a lot of experience with treating HIV and now really leading CytoDyn's operations with helping to treat the coronavirus. So can you just offer background?
Sure. I'm the CEO and medical officer of Quest Clinical Research in San Francisco, and we're a clinical virology research program now in our 31st year. We've dealt with about several hundred studies in HIV, but also CMV, papilloma, herpes, Hep B, Hep C. We do a fair amount of gene therapy, and we've worked in influenza. Viruses and people, and then we interact with all these sponsors developing various vaccines and other therapeutics.
So what has been your experience specifically with HIV?
Well, we've run basically a lot of the proof of concept studies for almost all of the HIV drugs, doing the initial dosing in man, trying to determine if there's an early safety signal, determine optimal doses, and then on to larger phase 3 studies. We've been involved with most of the HIV drugs that have come before the FDA for approval.
As our investor audience knows, CytoDyn is using its drug to fight HIV as a coronavirus potential treatment. What has been your involvement with kind of pushing these trials along?
Well, I've worked with NADA for about 10 years and enrolled several hundred patients with HIV in the studies, and I've been trying to help them with their whole FDA process. There are 800 patients with HIV now treated with leronlimab. What's exciting there is that there's zero safety signal. And some of those patients have been treated in our clinic out to 5 and 6 years now. So then more recently, in the last 6 months, while the HIV program is moving forward, we started working in the area of breast cancer, because there's some mouse data showing that CCR5 is a key part of the spread of metastatic disease. So we've enrolled now 10 or 12 women with triple negative breast cancer, and seeing, again, the drug is very safe, and we're seeing early signals of activity with both decreasing tumor size and circulating tumor cells going negative. The mechanism of that activity involves CCR5 binding, the antibody binding to the regulatory T cells or Tregs, which are cells that are kind of a cellular checkpoint inhibitor in that they suppress the immune response. And also the antibody binds to macrophages, switching them from cells that are helping the tumors grow to cells that could potentially be attacking the tumor. And so by seeing these early results in the cancer patients, it's sort of proving to us that the proposed mechanism of action of leronlimab in terms of regulatory T cells and macrophages is actually being borne out in the clinic. And then in the middle of that, we have this COVID-19 disaster. And so the same activity of leronlimab that might affect the well-being of cancer patients very much applies to the situation of COVID patients. Because in that scenario, while it's the virus that makes people ill initially, ultimately, the virus causes injury to the lung, and it's the immune response to that injury that's killing people. And that immune response is being mediated by those regulatory T cells and those macrophages. So the early evidence from cancer that it was working led us to believe that we could impact particularly the mortality rates in COVID-19.
And it appears that coronavirus patients who have been treated with leronlimab have been improving. Nader, if you just want to give us an update on some of those patients in Southern California. I know one of them was featured on CBS affiliate in LA.
Yes, that patient was severely ill COVID-19. In that same center, we have enrolled other patients under emergency IND for moderate case of COVID-19. And we have seen strong results. 4 of the patients are either released yesterday or today. 3 was released yesterday from hospital. 1 is being released today. And they got off the oxygen, and we have seen a lot of positive coming out of that. And FDA working with us in a great way. They have given us 75 patients randomized trial. We're enrolling on that one 12 patients with only 2 sites. 3 more sites are coming in. So we hope that in the next 2 weeks, we will have that 75 patients, which then we will be able to have a proof of concept for everybody. And if we're able to establish proof of concept with FDA, that's a major milestone for us.
Yeah, I know the last time that we spoke, I think last week, you had said that you would be having some conversations with the FDA. What has kind of come out of that, or have you spoken to them?
Well, we have spoken, and they have given us clear guidelines that the phase 2B-3 for severe population, that's starting to enroll now. Today, we should have the first patient, or tomorrow. And the FDA has again emphasized that they like to see the data that we have to have for the double-blinded placebo control. That's the proof of concept. That shows that your product definitely works. And they're doing a fantastic job being overloaded, but still giving attention to those like us, which we think that we have something, and they immediately look at the data. So we're doing very well with them, and hope to give them some exciting results very soon.
And Dr. Lalezari, maybe to close with you, what is your reaction to maybe how fast these patients are improving with leronlimab?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, the FDA is going to act on randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled data. But what is incredibly exciting is not only these case reports from Montefiore, or from New York and from Los Angeles, where patients with mild to moderate disease are given a dose of leronlimab, and then they very quickly come off of oxygen. We have many patients now who are intubated. They get a dose of leronlimab. They come off of intubation. But the plural of anecdotes is not data. So the FDA rightfully wants to see the randomized data. But what is super exciting is the laboratory results we're seeing, which don't require randomized placebo-controlled anything. And what we're seeing in all the patients we're treating is very rapid reduction of cytokine levels that are driving the cytokine storm. And even more exciting, I think, is a restoration toward normal of immune homeostasis. These patients are dying not just from lung inflammation / cytokine storm, but from severe immunosuppression. And within 3 days of a dose of leronlimab, we are seeing dramatic reversal of both those problems. So very encouraged.
Really appreciate having you both on. At least here in New York, we're seeing the death tolls decrease. So that's a great thing, and really appreciate both of your efforts here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.